guys.
All right, all right. Party people in the place to be, vandals, and people who don't think that folklore is actually as terrifying as it really is. We are Pink Buzz with a brand new episode of Pink Spots. This is a short form style episode where we talk about one book, and this book is one that's a subject we're going to broach quite a bit in the near future. That is folk-based horror. Joey, what book are we talking about tonight?
We'll be talking about The Hunt, created by Colin Lorimer. He wrote and illustrated it, colored by Joanna Lafuente. Editor is Laura Tavashadi. Communications, Mark Lombardi. And this is on the Shadowline production. It's a imprint from Jim Valentino through Image.
Right. And before we kind of get stuck even further into this, I was going to see if you had a check-in, and you kind of did allude to me that you had one before the show. So why don't you go ahead and let the people know the awesome Canadian stuff you've been looking into? I'm surprised you haven't read this beforehand as a Canadian. You know what I mean? Because it's one of the most
Well,
important things in comic book history, and it's Canadian as hell. So
yeah, Bone. Yeah, I've read started Bone. I bought the what edition? It's the anniversary edition, colored edition. It comes in a slipcase. So I started reading that a few days ago, and I think I'm just started. So I think I'm only like 4 issues in. But yeah, so far so good. It's cute. You know, I've maybe read a few things about Bone here and there, like where he's maybe made appearances in other things, but I've never actually dug into the actual series itself. So yeah, I've been enjoying that. I also started Mask of the Fudo by Severio Tenuta. I just started that. That's on the tablet. When I go to bed, I read that. I read digitally when I go to bed, so I started that one last night as well. And man, the art in that is just fantastic. Like
are you
Severio
getting
is
that? Are you getting that through Humanoid? Is that in the
no
Humanoids
Kindle.
digitals? Oh, okay, it's in
Kindle.
Kindle.
It's
Okay,
free.
cool.
Yeah, with a Kindle subscription, it's free. So yeah,
Ooh,
yeah. So anyone who
nice.
wants to read that, if you have Kindle, it's free with a subscription. I think they have all the volumes. If at least the first 4 volumes. I think it's a 6 volume series, and I think the first four, at least the first four, are free. So you can get pretty deep into it before you actually have to actually buy an issue. So yeah, so I've been enjoying that and shows. We just started American Horror Story 1984, or is it just 84? I don't know, but we started that on Sunday night. So yeah, we're about halfway through that series. It's not bad. It's okay. It's got the campy, cheesy horror vibe to it. Not bad.
Yeah, no,
Uh, how about
I
you?
well,
You have anything?
not really, man. I subscribed to Game Pass. I got Game Pass Unlimited, so I've just been playing Xbox. So yeah, no, I haven't really been reading too much this week,
So
besides what I
game.
had to. But
What is Game Pass? Is that like an Xbox thing, or is it something like another company that put that out? Or
no, it's through Microsoft, and yeah,
okay,
basically, you pay your weekly or monthly thing, and whatever they have on there, you just you can either play it on
okay,
cloud, which
it's
isn't
kind of
available.
it's kind of like a subscription where kind of a Netflix idea, but for video games, where you have a whole library to pick from.
Well, the cool thing about this though is if it doesn't play good on the cloud, you can pull it down. You can download it onto your actual machine and just play it off of there too, so you don't have to worry. Just use the cloud, which I really like because I live in kind of a rural area, so sometimes the cloud doesn't work in my favor. So, but yeah, no, I'm finally playing the Yakuza games, which our buddy Frankie White told me to check
Yeah,
out. Like he's
yeah,
half the
the
reason I got.
Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So how much is that a month, roughly?
The first month is $1, and then it's gonna be $15. So it's really cool. Plus,
So
I get
hey, yeah,
I
if you're a
get
big gamer, that
Crunchyroll and all kinds of shit with it for free.
oh yeah,
So
oh that's
yeah,
pretty good value then. if you're a big time gamer and you get Crunchyroll and all that stuff with it for $15, that's pretty good value.
Yeah, there's a couple other things that you get, little perks that are rolled up in it that come with the
Hmm.
$15 one, which I saw the value in. So yeah, I'm kind of digging it. So yeah, that's kind of what I've been up to though. Just
Cool.
playing a bunch of whatever
Yakuza.
strikes my fancy. Yeah, the Yakuza definitely though, because I've wanted to play those for a while ever since I saw the Miike movie.
Have you tried any? What else have you tried since you've gotten it?
That and I've been playing the new Mech Warrior game, Mech Warrior 5 Mercenaries, because I used to
Okay.
play that for the old Xbox. It was one of my favorite games. So I haven't played it since I think the first one. So it's been kind of fun to see how it's the same, but like it's I don't know. I actually like the older one better, but whatever. It's still pretty fun as hell. I just like
Mm,
mech shit.
mm, cool. Cool. Yeah, I had started playing Outer Worlds, but haven't played it at all in a week. But what I played so far is pretty fun.
Oh, you know
I've
I
dug it.
love that game, man.
Yeah. Well, you and Mel both recommended that, so I was like, oh man, fuck. I was like, I'll have to check it out sometime. And we were shopping over the holidays, and I got it for $15. So I mean, had to pick it up for that price.
Well, that and the grand illustrator himself, man, the illustrated man Goose, he before he became the king of art, he outplayed it and beat it and had a good time with it. So, yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it's pretty fun. Yeah.
he's left us though. He is he has joined the artist world, and I don't know if we're gonna get him back, man. How do you feel about it, man? Like Goose has gone the way of Richard and all our artist buddies, man. Like.
Hey, if he's enjoying himself, I mean, all the best to him, man. I mean, he seems to be getting into it. He hasn't dropped his Murder Falcon yet. He said he was supposed to hit that on his day off, but I didn't see him post it unless I missed it. But I've been busy, so I haven't been on Twitter as much, so I might have missed it on the timeline. I'll have to go click on him and see if he banged one out for Murder
I think
Falcon.
I think he's a little too green to be drawing something that he loves as much as he loves Murder Falcon. You know as much as I do as an artist, man. The first time you try to draw something you really like and it doesn't turn out, you know how that stings. So I think maybe he got his wings burnt a little bit like Icarus with that the Murder Falcon drawing. But
He'll
his
put.
Rocket Raccoon was sick though. He really did knock Rocket out of the park, man. Good job, Goosey Goose.
Yeah,
And then Matt had to show up and be mad about it. But yeah, you did a good job, Goose.
Fulci.
Yeah, straight up.
Huh. I don't know what he's up to these days. I haven't heard from him in a bit, so he's a little
Isn't
busy this
Mel at
weekend.
his house still? I mean, like, I thought they
No,
were.
no.
No.
I think I saw a post that she's back home. So yeah.
Well, he's probably crying on his pillow still. She went home.
Uh, uh, all right, let's get down to business
All right.
before we dig a hole we can't get out of.
Oh man, we piss him off enough he'd actually be on an episode with us, it would be worth it, man. But yeah,
Yeah.
no, it would be hilarious to get him back just to have him yell at us, you fucking dicks. You can't let me just have this one thing. Yeah.
Oh well. Oh well. We'll
But
see.
The Hunt. This book is definitely one of the um, just really kind of cool, fun books I found when I was first really getting into Image. And what really stuck to me is when I was a kid, you know that I'm Irish American, so I grew up really into cultic folklore and stuff like that. My mom made sure we read a lot of it. And one of the things I liked best about it, and people didn't understand, is that our folklore really is messed up and stuff, and you didn't get that too much in the books. But when I read this one, it really nails that home, man. And just Lormer's artwork, it's just so chilling the way he depicts the fair folk and the folklore creatures in this. I mean, they're nightmarish, right, Joey?
Yeah, they definitely have a very cool design. They like with the feathery kind of wings. Well, there's two. There's like there's two different band or three different kinds of. Anyway, there's some cool designs in it for sure. Like very spooky, very gothic looking. Uh,
Well, you have like the
I don't
High
know. Yeah,
Council, which are kind of the fairy, like the ones that
yeah.
she goes and talks to. Like those are actual fairies. The Slaw, which are the bad
The
guys,
sloth. Yeah,
like they're actually outcast of some kind. That's why they're kind of vulture looking. And then
yeah,
yeah, the changeling creatures, they just yeah, they look like
yeah,
something that Cthulhu shit out or something like that.
man.
So
Yeah, those are the most creepy looking ones. Are the changeling ones, whatever you call them. Yeah, those
oh
ones
yeah, when
definitely
the
have
little brothers looks through the rock and he
the
sees the
rock.
one
Yeah,
guy, man, and just like
and he's like,
yeah,
yeah, that's a good turn page for sure. Yeah, yeah, that was a great turn page because you're just waiting to see, right? Because you know, okay, so I'll let you. You're more familiar with the book, so I'll let you do a quick rundown so people kind of know the story behind it.
okay, well, this story is about the Rocher family, and basically they are cursed to be used by this group of outcast folklore creatures called the Slaw, who wish to be reincarnated so that they could be kind of pure again. Um, but when they get denied, they just become vicious and they devour souls, but very, very slowly. We take this journey with a girl named Orla Roche. Doesn't she's just badass, man. She
Yeah.
knows that she is tired of this cycle and she's going to put an end to it. But
Hmm.
at a young age, her father, who she really loved, was taken by the Slaw, and she saw it firsthand as a child.
As a
And
child. Yeah.
she heard his soul scream constantly. So she did everything that she could growing up to fight them to get her father's soul back. And
Hmm.
her and her grandmother pulled it off, but not in a way that was absolute. So that basically there is a forced second conflict, which is the crux of the main story that we read in the book. That's kind of the
Hmm.
main uh, rundown of the comic, I would say, right, Joe?
Yeah, yeah, and it's pretty cool because, like you said, only select like this family can see them. Like she walks around and she carries her sketchbook, and she just every time she sees one, she sketches it out to keep like a glossary or an encyclopedia of all these different creatures she comes into contact with. But everyone like makes fun of her at school, calls her crazy, creepy girl. Like because uh, she sees all these things and she draws it, and like there's the incident when she was a little girl in the woods trying to save her father's soul, and she gets a reputation because of that, because it was on the news because she disappeared for so long, and it's just a snowball of things that just on top of feeling alone because no one else can see these things, she's actually outcast from the circle of cliques at school as well, except for one friend. She has one friend who believes everything she says, and she has her back. But they don't elaborate on that too much. But she's there at the beginning and kind of gives our main protagonist a little bit of support and moral support and emotional support, which is kind of nice that she's not completely alone in this to try to handle it on her own. And she has her grandmother as well, who's a major player on helping her through these strange times that she's living in, which is fantastic. And I like the way they do it. That only like the people that have the gift or the eye or whatever you want to call it or a curse can see these people. So you have that play on like people thinking she's crazy and stuff. Not being believed and the isolation of it. And they do a great job of echoing that throughout the story, which is really well done by Colin and in that aspect of the story. Mm.
And what ends up participate are precipitating through the actions of this particular story leaves a lot more people, even though they can't see these things knowing that they are there and they do exist, like her hipster
Mhm.
boy artistic art school boyfriend who kind of only hung out
Mm,
with her for the
yeah,
cred of having, like, the crazy beautiful artistic girlfriend
yeah,
that's crazy. uh, I loved his whole part with the pencil and stuff. I thought that that was really, really neat,
that was
where he
cool. Yeah.
kind of got drug into it. And yeah, he's going to, if they do a sequel to this, I would assume that he would be a big part of it. Same thing with the police detective who
Mhm.
rescued her when he was a child, and he thought that she's been insane since forever. But with what went
Mm,
on in this particular fight, like, even he's a believer now, and you kind of
yeah,
leave the book with him as a very, very big supporter of what's going down
mm.
in that town.
Yeah, because there's a lot of little threads throughout that didn't don't get elaborated on as much because this is just a 5 issue series. But man, like I think this could have easily been a 12 issue series because you could have like dive deeper into these little threads throughout. Like the grandmother, we get a little bit of her backstory and stuff, but not too much. Like we just touch on it enough, just so it has context for the story, but never dives too deep. I would love to see another part to this and kind of uh, dive a little deeper into the folklore, like you say, and really, you know, hammer out some of these characters with a little more depth. Yeah, it'd be great. Like you said, like the whole scenes with the pencil, the boyfriend, which was really cool. Love those scenes. Those were great. Like I mean, Colin does a great job uh, juggling the two worlds and how they interact, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. The whole reason why I read this is because I was reading Colin's new book, Daisy, and then you had asked if I had read The Hunt, and I was like, no. And then you're like, oh man, you got to read that because. So yeah, and it's man, I'm turning into a pretty big fan, man. I love this one, and Daisy's been. It's only 2 issues in, but the two first issues to that have been great. So, man,
Oh
I'm really
yeah.
happy. I'm really happy you recommended that I read The Hunt because yeah, it just gives me a little more context, a little more uh, knowledge into Colin's catalog of works. So yeah, man, I enjoyed it quite a bit, and the art, I love it. I love his art. He's definitely got a nice macabre style to fit the tone. Is wonderful. Like like his designs for, like you said, the creatures, fantastic, fantastic. Definitely gives it like that eerie, like dark creepiness that like of just lurking. And that's one thing I like is there's no direct assault on people, right? They're not literally like
No, like,
attacking. Like
yeah,
you
no,
say,
it's
it's like a
always.
slow, yeah, it's a slow burn. Like they're lurking there and just feeding, like absorbing, and like it, it's like a slow, creepy burn that like I don't know. It's really well done. It's I gotta hand it to him there. It's not like these big grandiose where the monster comes in and just lunges at people and attacks them and stuff. I think the closest we get is when they go to the hive. I don't know if it's called the hive or the where the changelings all are. I think that's the closest we get to monsters actually attacking people. The scenes with the boyfriend, but aside from that, like when she goes to the other worlds, like when she goes through the portal to see the fairies and stuff, like you have a sense of dread, but there's no direct threat to her. Like, but you feel like at any moment something bad can happen, and there's that tone of dread throughout the whole series, like all 5 issues, which is just Colin nailed it perfectly. Yeah. Another book that remind like the same tone, the same feel of dread, like all throughout, but doesn't have much action like horror, but it's more relies on atmosphere was Red Mother. I find it has that same kind of level of uneasiness as you're reading it, and and Colin does an excellent job at setting the tone and the atmosphere in this, yeah, to make it very unsettling the whole time you're reading it, which is a great touch.
kind of reminds me of And Then Emily Was Gone too, like
as well.
because
Yeah.
it just one of the few books that really creeps me out. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like it
Yeah.
just leaves me off put feeling after reading it.
For sure. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about Colin, man, is his art's only gotten better. I was like, look, I'm reading Honey the other night, and I'm just like, how the hell did that guy even get better at drawing? It's impossible because he's got this beautiful style that's like, I'm not a huge fan of photorealism, but he's got this photorealistic style, but at the same time, it's very cartoonish at the
Hmm.
same time. I don't know how he skates like the razor's edge between the two of them, but he has this style that I wouldn't call completely photorealistic, or would I call a cartoonist style, but it definitely plays in both ballparks, and I think it's definitely one of the most lovely out there. I'm glad that he is getting his day in the sun because I've been a fan of this book for a while. And I did a video on it, and I talked to him on Facebook. I used to bug him on Facebook all the time, and he would tell me that like, yeah, man, all I need is the interest, but there's a lot more he had planned to do with this. So I'm kind of hoping maybe he could tie Honey back to it, and I don't know, kind of, you know, have a little horror folklore universe popping off at Dark Horse because I mean I don't think Image will tie him down to it, you know what I mean? I think they'll let him take this over to Dark Horse if he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah. It would definitely, because Daisy is more of a. I'm not very familiar with like Irish folklore and all that, so I don't know if there's he touches on much folklore in Daisy, but it's definitely based on kind of more biblical, I'd say, folklore, and I don't know if he puts little touches of Irish folklore mixed in there, but it's definitely the first two issues have been really good, and yeah, like anyone like if you read Daisy and you enjoyed it, go pick up The Hunt because The Hunt is an excellent book as well, and you can kind of see uh, just the well, I'd say Daisy has maybe it's a little less of a slow burn because there's definitely some more like shocking moments in it just in the first two issues than The Hunt had overall. But The Hunt had a few kind of what the fuck moments because like the grandmother has a pretty big role in her storyline. You see it. I think she was probably my favorite character in the whole series.
Oh
The Hunt,
yeah.
the
Well,
grandmother. I love that character. She was great. Yeah,
yeah, because she's badass, and like, I love
yeah.
when they nail the characters like that in a horror story. Because yeah, the badass grandma, man, you can never outdo them if they're done correctly.
Yeah, and she can't see the because I'm not sure if I understood that properly because she lost an eye, so she can't see the creatures anymore, right? Isn't that the idea? But she can sense their presence, hear, smell them, and stuff. She just can't see them anymore because I don't know if it's just one eye you can see them through. I don't know if I didn't catch that properly, but
I'm not sure. They never specified. I think it actually had to do with the fact that she got her eye stabbed with the wand, is
okay.
why she. So it took her magic sight because she got blinded by a magical object.
Okay, I see. Okay, possibly that. Yeah, because they did. That's what I mean. There's a lot of little threads that you know that you could easily go off into if you had more issues to elaborate on them. That you could stray maybe a little bit from the main story. But I mean, obviously, he had 5 issues. He didn't know if there'd be more. So I understand like trying to keep the story more focused and not kind of go off on too many tangents with characters. But that's definitely a character I'd like to know a little more about because the grandmother is definitely probably got a lot of stories to tell with her and her little dog there, which is funny. It's nice. She was a great character, a great character.
A little
But
pupper, and then yeah, and I would say if they did a sequel, I'd say maybe her trying to train the friend, right? Basically, would be kind of the plot of it, which I
mm,
think would be pretty fun.
mm, yeah, yeah. And in that story, the mother to Orla, is that her name? Orla?
That's how I pronounce it. Yeah.
Yeah. She doesn't have the gift or the power or the sight or whatever you want to call it, eh?
No,
The
she
mother.
completely.
But did the father? Was it through the
No,
father?
no. I think that
No.
it's only certain, very certain ones, because yeah, the mother, none of the her that generation could see. Like the
Good.
little brother couldn't until he had the seeing stone either. You know what I
The
mean?
seeing
So
stone, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, he needed the stone to be able to see them. Uh, yeah. So basically, so she was special then. Her and the grandmother had that strong connection because they shared the site. And okay, yeah, which was a you could see that they had a really strong bond between the two of them. And yeah, that's a great little storyline right there too. The granddaughter with the grandmother and what they do to try to save their father's soul, which would be okay. So her father, who at the beginning is the catalyst for driving this story, when he passes away, is that the son to the grandmother or
yeah, I took it that he is the grandmother's son. So I
okay?
think that he might have actually had the side. I think it might follow her side of the family. He might
Okay,
not have had it very strong though, type of thing.
yeah. Well, because he's the catalyst for the story, right? He's what motivates Orla. So he passes away right at the beginning. That's like the crux of the story. That's how it kicks off that way. So you don't get to know the father all that much. You just know of him and his daughter's deep connection that she had with him, and her struggle to try to save his soul. That's basically what the story is her just trying to find her father and save his soul from the what'd you call him, the slaw,
The
the
slaw or
slew,
the
this anyway, yeah, because they captured his soul. They're the ones who stole his soul, so she wants to get it back from them so his soul can be at peace. Yeah. Mm.
They basically turn in like these like bright egg things, man. It's really
Mm.
creepy because like they look like they should be like some beautiful, peaceful like thing because they're like glowy eggs, but at the same time you're just like, that's not right, man. Like what are those creepy ass like buzzard people doing with those, man?
Yeah,
That can't be good.
yeah, yeah. And that's another. I love the design of those creatures. That's with the feathery kind of, like you said, like a vulture. Like they got that the crown kind of or whatever the collar. That's feathers. Makes me think a lot of uh, what's that character's name from Death Note?
Oh, Ryuk, the
Ryuk. Yeah,
Shinigami.
yeah. It looks a lot like the Ryuk. Yeah, exactly. They have a similar vibe as that. Yeah, yeah. That they're lanky, thin, and always kind of like hunched over with the yeah, like the vulture look. Like it's definitely super creepy kind of looking, and they're always lurking above you, like higher up and looking down on you, and it's a really cool design. And the way they introduce it and the way they lurk above you and always perch above you so you're like below them, like trying to intimidate you. It's really well done, really well done, really creates a good, like I said, that atmosphere of dread all the way through. Like that's definitely a nice touch that definitely creates that uneasiness throughout the story.
I love that you brought that up. It kind of reminds me of one of my other favorite Image comics from slightly after this. I don't know if you've ever read Jim Zub's Wayward, but like that was a book that had a lot of tie-ins that showed weird similarities between ancient Japanese and ancient Irish folklore. That like there's oceans between these people, but a lot of their mythical creatures quite similar. And it was a really neat series for having that. So like I thought, I wonder if Colin maybe uh gave Jim some of the inspiration for that because I wasn't thinking about that. But yeah, I didn't think of how close they look like Ryuk either. So that's
Mhm.
really cool stuff, Joe.
Yeah, well, you said like that collar, like the vulture kind of, because it's not really it is wings, but it isn't. But they're all like really thin and feathery. So I don't know. It's definitely and like they're thin, they're like black. I don't know if it's very unspecific. like I don't know if it's leather or skin, or they have that weird gothic, like super like emo goth look. They're dressed like they're going to a Marilyn Manson concert or something.
You definitely don't want to hang out with them, man. You get that
No,
feeling
no.
right away, man. You're like,
Mm, mm.
I don't want to spend more than 5 minutes around these motherfuckers, man. That's for sure.
No, no, they're definitely creepy. Well, even the fairies are super creepy. Like all the creatures in this are like really creepy. So it's almost like when I was a kid. What's the Dark Crystal? Like all the characters in that fucking show are all creepy, and this is kind of the same thing. It's like a fantasy folklore tale, but it's not a bright, fun, like like bright colors, exuberant. It's definitely got that dark, macabre uh, feel to it and tone. So yeah. Mm. I don't know if most Irish folklore is dark and somber like that, but yeah, man, I don't know. I don't know
They
if that.
have, they do have fun tales, but like there is a stark difference. It's kind of like, Shakespearean.
Mm,
Like there's the really, really dark, messed up stuff, and then there's the silly ones, you know what I mean? And like
mhm,
they are separated, they don't really mix together, you know what I mean?
mhm,
But a lot of the main stories with the mythological creatures and stuff, they're pretty brutal, and they have very kind of strong moral endings, kind of like this book does. I don't know if moral's the right term, but our protagonist definitely um, doesn't win, but gets what they want anyways. Which
mhm.
that's classic folklore. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
almost Greek tragedy at the same time,
Yeah,
but it ties back to the Celtic folklore at the same time. So.
mm, yeah, yeah. It's definitely yeah. There's some. It's definitely more of a gut wrenching kind of glass half full kind of ending. Like yeah, for sure. Mm. But
I
like you
mean,
said, like it's
it's
open
not, it's
ended.
not, it's not gut pulling like the end of "And Then Emily Was Gone" or something like
No,
that, but
no.
it's it's close though too.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
It's
not
I wouldn't call it a happy ending. It's an ending.
right.
It's definitely an ending. So after reading this, now I'm not too sure what the fuck's gonna happen in Daisy because I mean, if that's the ending he put on this one, then oof, I don't know. It might not be the happiest of endings, just based from
Oh,
the first two issues of Daisy so far. So I don't know, but
well,
I dig that.
especially with
Yeah,
how biblical and Mediterranean, like kind of like Greek mythological Daisy's been, like it's gonna be messed up. That book's gonna end fucked up. I
yeah.
guarantee you.
Well, man, when when the offspring of angels and humans are giant cannibalistic baby, like cannibalistic giants are the offspring that are produced from humans and angels procreating. I mean, you're gonna get a fucked up story there. Yeah. So, moral of the story in Daisy: don't let angels and humans fuck.
Yeah, man, you look at like the Hallmark cards and like, the artwork and you're like, angels are hot. And you're like, don't do it though, man. Just think about what the baby's gonna look like. Think about what it's gonna eat. Don't do
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Not just look like what it'll actually do. They'll fucking take out a whole village. Be like, "Oh, I couldn't help myself." So, yeah. Yeah, so man, yeah, so I'm really happy you recommended it. It was a fun read, and like I said, anyone who's been enjoying Daisy will definitely enjoy this one as well because
Right.
it's definitely got the same kind of tone to it, and yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm really happy that he's writing and drawing by himself again. I don't know why, but I love when creators do that. I mean, I really liked like Harvest and like the Peter Milligan Prisoner book that Lorimer did and stuff, but I just really, really like when they write and draw themselves. You know what I mean? Like it's always exciting for me when I see creators do that. I guess because it's kind of how I've always wanted to do my books. So
Mm. See, this was came out in 2016. Yeah. What has he done anything between this and Daisy?
yeah, he did The Prisoner with Peter Milligan. Yeah, he
Okay,
did. He drew a couple things with a couple
he
people,
did.
but like he hasn't written and drawn anything himself by himself since this. Like Daisy's the second
Yeah.
book he's ever done that with.
Okay, cool. Oh, it's man. Uh, Hope he sticks to it because I've Daisy's been impressing me so far. So, and speaking of which, I don't know if it's going to be dropping again soon. I think next week, the week probably next week is issue 3. I think I'm not sure, but it should be dropping pretty soon. The third issue because the other one came out 2-3 weeks ago, so should be almost due to drop.
How many issues is that going to be? Six?
Five,
That's
five.
about five? Okay, yeah,
Yeah.
5, 6. That's typical for Dark Horse. That's why. So
Mm,
it's gonna be slightly better than this one. It might cover a little more ground by the time it's done. So that's groovy.
yeah. And I mean, if the sales are good, I don't know because we're still too early into the story. I don't know if you could expand on the story once it's over after the 5 issues. But I mean, Jenny Zero, I think they're getting their second arc because sales were pretty good on that. So I mean, if the numbers
Paul
are good,
Tob
then
Paul Tobin got a couple arcs out of Colder. So yeah, I mean like
yeah.
some Dark Horse books that kind of start off as little graphic novels can kind of have sequels. So yeah, I hope it works out for him because, like I said, he's a really, really good talent, and um, I'm glad that he's stuck with it and he's trying again right now because it's the perfect time for everybody to try to do this and catch on because all the eyeballs they're on comic books right now, which is a good thing. So
And this is continuing with the trend of my books that, like, when I'm making my poll, that this Daisy was one of the ones I was like, it was like borderline, am I gonna put it on or not? And 2021 was the year of like the borderline books that I just put on my poll have been the best ones. So, and this one's the same thing. So, man, so if you hesitate, there's one book you're not sure about, you're on the fence, chances are that's probably going to be the best book on your poll because that's been my experience so far. So, yeah. Mm.
But all right, that was The Hunt by Colin Lorimer. I really hope we kind of inspired some of you guys to check it out or some of Colin's other work out. He is a very, very rad artist, and even when he does work with other creators, his art is just gorgeous and the books kick ass. And he is doing Daisy at Dark Horse right now, which me and Joey very highly recommend you go pick up. There's 2 issues out. I think issue 3 is going to come out in 2 weeks, I believe.
Possibly, yeah.
Um,
At least not more than that because it's at the beginning of each month. So it's either going to be next week or the week after. So within the next 2 weeks, it should be dropping.
but
Mm.
yeah, that's the plan, and this is just been a lot of fun. I've been having a lot of fun doing these Pink Spots episodes with Joe, just finding these weird small little books to wig out about and try to help get some eyeballs on them because Colin's a good dude and he's kind of been talking to us a little bit on Twitter, and yeah, he needs the promotion, he needs the support, so check him out, pretty please. But until next time, this is Pink Buzz, a product of graphic vandalism. You know what that means. That means don't stop reading. That means don't stop watching awesome movies and don't stop supporting excellent music. If you're new here, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Check out some more of our stuff. I highly recommend our Darling video. I think that that's really good. I think that's a great graphic novel. And if you haven't checked it out yet, I think me and Joey give you a lot of good reasons to buy and read the book. But until next time, take it easy, y'all.